Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's podcast. This is officially the 89th podcast that we've been running consecutively. We're very thrilled to be here with you tonight, as we are every other night. Your host tonight, as always, our dedicated leader, Mr. Atlas. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you for the introduction. Fortunate. Thank you for all of your hard work, my friend. Folks, welcome to another edition of the ARK Nightly Podcast. Man, we're excited to be here. We are looking at the Spark price pool growing 191.25 ARK. That's a street value, as we like to call it here, of 1,092.04 BUSD. Let's get this crypto, folks. Tonight, we're going to be doing the Spark price pool. We're going to be taking some questions and talking a bit about the protocol, some of the work that's happening here. We've got some AMAs that are going to be coming next week, more great YouTubers, more great articles on Medium from our community, as well as YouTube videos from our community. Very excited. Also working on two big collaborations and AMAs over on the Discord. Amazing community that really hasn't heard much about ARK. And there are tens, hundreds of millions of dollars over in those communities. I was involved in Discord way before coming to Telegram, and so many great folks, educated, looking for serious, tangible projects and teams. Not very degen, if I may say. Serious folks, battling it out through the bear, looking for sustainable, long-term investments, looking for the ARK, understanding that the 100x days in a couple hours, it's not that time. James at the water cooler, we know about him. He's always ready to put his moon boots on and his helmet, get on top of the table and say, "We're going to the moon, Atlas." Well, little Jimmy, it's okay to hope and dream and stay positive. But you should also understand that you got to take a step back and diversify yourself and look for long-term, slow but steady, fast ROI, referral system that actually pays you to bring people in. And man, Discord is a great frontier, part of the growth. Crypto Twitter, something else we're going to be working on, expanding on. And of course, Prime Directive, number one. The average Joe, the average Jane, the Uber driver, the single mother with 2 kids, the person working at Costco, stacking up the shelves, hating their job and wanting some financial freedom. These folks who have never really come to DeFi, who are facing inflation, seeing their fiat accounts cannibalize the cost of living, cost of energy, rent, food, everything is getting more expensive. And they're looking to hedge. They're looking for an opportunity to create a passive income, maybe replace the job they hate. So we're here, the mobile app, free one PWA. It's looking amazing. A lot of work being done on that. These guys are incredible. Shout out to the devs, man. Shout out to the crew. The game changer is coming soon. Also, our work for our utility is ramping up. Folks, there's not enough hours in the day. The amount of meetings Brett and I have had this week. Great opportunities. We've talked to you folks about some of those external utilities, but we're working on something that we can't talk about much. As you know, here we like to deliver. We like to come to you and say, hey, we just upgraded our contracts to the DAO. You can vote on blockchain here at ARK. We mentioned we would do it. We put it in the roadmap. Man, we smashed right through it. Got it done. That's the way we like to work. People are tired of promises. They want tangible. And the folks here are patient. And I think every day they're getting more confident as they're growing with the team, how things have been delivered, the quality of the products. It speaks for itself. It sells itself. So thank you for being here. For the folks that are listening at a later time, thank you for also joining the podcast. Mr. Brett, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, really good. How are you, Atlas?
Fantastic. Happy to be here. What updates you got for us, man? What do you want to share with the community?
Yeah, you've got a couple. I mean, so on the first version, you mentioned the V1 of the PWA. We're at 85% complete. The front end devs just hooking things up. So, I'm thinking by the end of next week, he's going to really crush through this last portion of it. I'm thinking by the end of next week, we might be able to start to reveal some of that as we're doing our internal testing and things. Obviously, we have two front end devs. Alex, which a lot of you already know, who did the current DApp and hooked everything up for Gordy's design. Now we have another designer for just the web app, and then also another front end PWA developer that's doing the front end for that. So we've got that whole big team now working together, and it's looking great. I know there's going to be some things that we try to pull forward from the future design. We've talked about a rebrand and believe it or not, a rebrand already, but just really improvements and moving it into that mobile form. There's some opportunities to make some, design adjustments and improvements to really clean up, I would say, and make the not just the user interface a lot cleaner, but also take a chance to move the brand forward and get us ready for that mass market and a look and a feel that can last for years to come. That's really what our goal was. We've got the first step, the V1 of the PWA, coming very quickly. That'll give us all that usability and function that we've talked about, being able to, sign up people from just our mobile app and send over a referral link and have them hook up through the PWA. So that's going to be an exciting leap forward. And that's really our platform for these other utilities that we're talking about. Now that we've got that tech in place, then we can start to plug in additional products and introduce things through the mobile web app that we really just can't do on a desktop very easily, but then put it in people's hands that can start to learn and grow with the investment. We talk about, getting them into the investment initially and then being able to understand and educate themselves as they go. So it's the education layer that we not only need from community members, but then also through the mobile web app to give them things at their fingertips that they can learn to understand different aspects of the protocol. And as more capital becomes available, then they're going to move into those investments and so on. So that's really the goal here, is to create a platform that then we can expand, not only bring in more users, but also expand the utility of ARK and also bring in additional DeFi products under that same, hub and spoke platform. So that's really the goal there. And we're moving very, very quickly. I've been super impressed. And as we have that available, we'll make sure we get that out to everybody so they can take a look at maybe just some quick screenshot, screen video of the mobile web app in use, so people can kind of see where we're heading, because I think it'll create some excitement in the community and set some expectations for everything that we've been talking about here. I can run through we've still got quite a few contests going on. The ARK name adjustment for Discord and Telegram has been extended, and the prize pot for that is also increased to 1,500 BUSD. So if you change your name on Telegram to ARK, and also on Discord. So they need to both be updated. And you said those screenshots to Fortunate, you get to enter to win up to 300 BUSD. There'll be 5 lucky winners for the 1500 prize the 1500 BUSD prize pool. Getting that mixed up with Spark. Then we also have the Pillars poker game, and we'd like to see more people get over. There's a link to their site where you can buy NFTs to have a chance to participate in the poker night. But all of those proceeds are going to go to purchasing the token of one of the projects, the project leader that's involved in the poker game. If he wins, then that project will get supported with the proceeds from the NFT will go into that project to either purchase the token, or in our case, I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work because it'll all get deposited into a vault account, but I'm sure we'll work that out if Atlas is lucky enough to bring home the trophy that night. And then, of course, the all aboard session, which we're not participating in tonight. Coach Brad is off at a family engagement, so we're not going to do the spin the wheel and the community prize of 50 BUSD or 100 BUSD. But tomorrow night, it sounds like Crypto Putter's going to come on, and we'll have a video from him, and we'll all get to like, share, and subscribe that video and enter a chance to win either 50 BUSD or 100 BUSD, depending on how many participants we have on the podcast. So stay tuned for that. And that's been a great success for us. And I think it's a win-win for not only the content creators, but also a chance for someone in the community to take home some BUSD. And that's about it from my end. Atlas, anything else that you wanted to touch on as far as the AMAs or upcoming YouTubers or anything like that?
No, I think we've given him a great update for tonight. I know in the meeting we had today, we got a good look at the updates that are coming in, the screen recording of the mobile app, PWAV1 version. And yeah, we made the decision to go ahead and set that up and do like a small teaser. So some of the folks why we're always so excited as we get to see really, the work in progress, which is so satisfying when you see the quality of the work. So I think that's going to be pretty exciting for this week. And I know Z's working really hard on Discord. Looking forward to his DeFi session tonight. Let's talk about some layer ones. Let's talk about what's happening really at the high level, the macro level of serious teams, serious DeFi, which is important. We want to make sure that everybody's really understanding the bigger picture here. ZK Snarks, the future of 30 transactions per second. The future of privacy, anonymity that is ahead of us through these technologies that are going to just change so much of how we do what we do. We love learning about that. There's a lot of opportunity. We love ARK. We're all about ARK, but we're also all investors, and we're looking for opportunity, and we're studying and we're learning, and we're being very careful with our powder. We just don't want the heinous debacles like we've seen this past couple of weeks of millions of dollars just getting rugged through these AI trading bot scams by unscrupulous folks, and people just keep, getting distracted, getting rugged, getting wrecked, getting hurt. It's better to sit back, wait for the right opportunity, study it, analyze it, do the due diligence, and again, invest carefully. So with that, folks, let's see if we have a couple of questions before we go ahead and release the Spark drawing for tonight. Got a couple of folks here in the community. Is there anybody that has a question or a comment? All right. So I guess not at this time.
Hey, Alex, when are we going to get some sneak peeks at new DAP?
This week. Well, we got the screen, for the video capture right here, but I think we're going to set it up in a great manner that represents the way we do everything here, right? Quality.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we'll tie it up in a bow and maybe do a bit of editing on it. Don't let the whole cat out of the bag. Just let him peek out, right?
Yeah.
But
we need a little tease on it.
Absolutely. And we've had the privilege of seeing what we call the V40. The V40 is think of your bad boy, full-fledged, mobile app that's, we're talking Uber, Twitter, Apple software quality, where we aim to be. So remember, we've always said we're designing our system and the whole user interface for that individual, that average Joe and Jane that just doesn't want to sit there and read the white paper. They got a couple minutes. They're like, man, you're making money. How much are you making? How long you been around? Hey, how do I get in? How do I make it happen? Making it easy for that young man that's, working on the beach, cracking coconuts with a machete for the tourists, that he can get in and be making money and growing, getting that 2%, and, have an opportunity to grow in the system. So we've seen that one, man. That was last week. Not this, with the one before. And man, that V40, man, I had to pick up my jaw off the floor. Unbelievable what these guys are doing. So it's good to have that vision of where you want to get to. But this is what we have today. We want to go out there. We have a fantastic user interface design. Let's go with what we have, because that's going to take a couple months to really bring that whole grandiose, amazing system here. A ton of upgrades. Where you look at what we have here now, and if you think you're impressed, man, wait till you see that. So step at a time, and maybe at some point we could even tease that. But let's go step by step.
Yeah, I know. I just think it's going to be a game changer for people onboarding new people to their teams. So definitely looking forward to seeing that.
Oh man, this thing's going to be hotter than Cash App. Cash App don't make you 2%.
You got that right.
Don't make you 2%.
No, Zelle just cost me money.
Exactly. Man, you're going to be hearing, you're going to be on, driving your car and, here, send me some ARK on the app. Send me your QR code. Send me your ARK QR. And you're going to hear that in rap songs and country music. Hey, man, it's going to be good times ahead. Day at a time. But, yeah, we're going to get that out there for you folks, man. I'd like to get the feedback from the community and the hype. And really, you folks have been such a great community, so patient, so calm, cool, collected. There's a great reason to be. Let's not deny the fact of what's happening here to every investor. Especially you folks with those Ultimo cards, man. I'll just hit in that ATM, making it rain. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set up our Spark reward for this evening. We've already got the first cold storage defrosted and ready to do the second transaction here in just a second. But let's get in the mood. Let's get pumped up, folks. All right, folks, here we go. I hope you're all ready to get this crypto here tonight. Spark Rewards live for you. And we are going to make it happen right now.
Feeling pretty good about this, Atlas. I added a new wallet to this ARK thing yesterday, so.
Here we go, folks. The winner of tonight's Spark Rewards, their wallet is ending in 3854. You've won 192.33 ARK. Let's get this crypto. Now here's where it gets real quiet as the folks are searching through their wallets, looking at the syndicate viewer, see if somebody on their team is a winner. It's not here present right now. They're going to reach out and let them know.
It is a first-time winner.
All right. Looks like the winner's not here tonight. And we were on a roll there for quite a bit where the folks who were here, man, it was a trend. If you were at the podcast, you're winning Spark. And I'm sure a lot of you guys remember that. It almost seemed unfair, to the folks who didn't come to the podcast. But hey, man, that's a great thing about randomness and the system that was built here. Again, in-house. We're not using Chainlink. I mean, shout out to Chainlink. We love you guys, but dude, we build in-house. You have the talent, you've got the brains, you got the experience. Why trust a third party for the reliability of your product, the safety of your customers and their funds? I mean, it's not a secret, folks, that not only do we get a CERTIC audit, but we got a driven audit. 2 audits were done here. And that wasn't good enough because we've seen projects that have gotten a CERTIC audit done, pass with flying colors, and get hacked a week later or a month later, or when there's millions of dollars and tens of millions of dollars of investor funds at stake. We went beyond that, and we hired 3 of the most renowned Solidity white hat hackers in the world. Very expensive. These folks don't work cheap. It's, easier for them to just hack you and take all your money. So you better pay these folks well. And we set that up, and we made sure that they took their time and try to find any possible weakness. And not 1, 2, we have 5 contracts, folks, that are making all this magic happen for all of us. And for so many people that will be coming in the future, 6 months from now, a year from now. It doesn't matter when you heard about ARK, you get to play the same game as everyone else. It's a beautiful thing. Do we have any questions or comments? All right. Mr. Z, are you ready for the DeFi sessions tonight?
Let's go.
You're bringing the alpha, sir? You got the alpha again?
Yeah, of course, man. The alpha's always there, always brewing. The recipe's always getting bigger. Put that sort of Astro ARK, metaverse type music, sir. And then we'll share the screen and talk about a really cool mainnet that's about to be launched. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. It's been 3 straight nights where we've had heavy duty podcasts, and we've had many guests, we've had many updates. And if you guys can see my screen, our Discord is starting to really grow. We are 632 members now, and we're getting a bunch of interaction. And the meme competition is just getting bigger and bigger. It's something that I'm enjoying thoroughly every single day with the team. Terry Tibbs came out with this one. One does not simply win the Spark Award once. I love it. Terry Tibbs, keep it coming, man, because the competition is brewing. This one I really enjoyed by Yom Plow. So Yom Plow puts up this meme here, and it reads out, "Congrats, you won in the Arkfi contest. Here's 100 BUSD for you. Now you can hold it, or..." And then you see the kid. It's a father and son, basically, relationship, and the kid puts it straight into swap for BUSD for Arkfi. And the son goes, "Well done, boy." Right? We never keep our money just sitting in the bank or in their wallets. We make sure that we're putting it in bigger ROIs and stuff. So I'll give him a good sort of emoji there. And I like this one by Caribbeans that shows investor, DeFi, simplified transactional sustainability here, user of DeFi, and then ARK, just pulling that string and taking it to higher transaction speeds and stuff. So yeah, the memes are getting better and better. So keep it flowing, guys. Now, seeing that we missed the sort of Aptos launch a few months ago, it's important for us to keep our eyes on what the next sort of layer 1, is, and what it's about. When do they seem to do their airdrops, and get to know their team a little bit better, because these are the sort of blockchains that will challenge Ethereum. They will challenge the transaction per second speed rate. They'll work on interoperability in a different way. And to start that off, I want to kind of go through an interview. So this is Mistin's Labs, right? Mistin Labs are the ones behind SUI Network, behind SUI Network, and these are all Meta former Meta developers that were working on Libra, just like Aptos. But these guys are doing things a little bit differently to how Aptos are approaching their you can say apparatus model. And it's great to hear from their so basically you had Sam Blacksher who did a really cool interview. So I'm gonna play this for like a minute so you guys can kind of see what the SUI model is all about. It's pretty interesting. So we'll listen to this for a few minutes. I'm hoping y'all can see my screen. If you can't see my screen, just let me know now.
Hey, bro.
Awesome. Cool. I want to play this now. So let's hear this.
Is if I have a validator and...
Can you just tell us a little bit about that so that everyone is sort of on the same page?
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing that's really different about SUI compared to other L1s is when we designed it, we started from scratch and we thought, what we really want here is sort of Web 2 style horizontal scalability. What that means is if I have a validator and I give them a 1-box machine with 1 core, I get a certain amount of throughput and I can store a certain amount of data. If I give them more cores, I should be able to process more transactions. If I give them more machines, I should be able to process more transactions. If I have more disks, I can hold more data. And we basically don't want there to be some point where this stops becoming true or significantly degrades performance, like, oh, once we go to multi-machines, it's way slower, or we just can't do it. We really want to scale the way Web 2 services do by just adding more resources as you need them, and even doing so elastically. Like if the traffic is spiky, you provision a bunch more machines for a little bit around Christmas, and then you bring it back down. So when we designed Sui, we really thought about like, what do we need to do in order to achieve this goal? And the key thing there really is this new data model, where in conventional blockchains, you have this account-based data model where the state is basically a ledger. There are addresses, and then the addresses map to numbers that represent balances, or the data or bytes that represent NFTs. But if for something like, say, something like a coin, all of the balances live in the same smart contract. So all of the operations on that coin are going to hit the same smart contract and cause a contention point. And with Sui, we organize things very differently. We organize around objects. The global state is organized as a set of objects. Objects all have globally unique IDs. They have built-in ownership information. An object knows I'm owned by an address, or I'm owned by another object, or I'm a shared object that can be interacted with by anyone, and there's some set of rules for defining it. And these objects have types, types defined in Move. It might say, I'm a Sui coin, I'm a USDC coin, I'm a Bored Ape NFT, I'm an auction, I'm a DEX. Each of these kinds of things, and then the type of the object gives you the rules for what operations are valid on that object, and who's allowed to interact with it. And so this object-centric view makes it much easier to do a lot of different things that matter for scaling. So the most obvious one is parallel processing. The structure of a transaction in Sui is it operates not on accounts, but on objects. It takes some set of input objects. You'll say, hey, I'm going to interact with this DEX. I'm going to take this coin as input. Maybe I'm using this NFT. And then the transaction is allowed to read and write and transfer those objects, but not other objects. And then the effects of the transaction are also captured in terms of objects. You have mutations to the input objects. You might create new objects. You might destroy some of the inputs. And what that does is when you look at a transaction, you can see what it's going to do in advance because you know what objects it's allowed to touch. And so it's easy to tell these touch disjoint objects. I can throw these to different threads. These touch the same object, so they have to be sequenced with respect to each other. It also makes it easier to scale your storage because you know upfront what you're going to need to read or write, and you can fetch that in a big batch, even if it lives.
Yeah, so now you're just going into much more detail of like how the parallel objects work. Now, if you were to like sort of understand this in simple terms, the way our Ethereum or sort of BSC layers work are where you are basically rolling up a bunch of different processes and basically still having to go through that grind of processing those 100 sort of transactions in one go with sort of like the roll-up model. Now, what the Move model does, right? So Move is a programming language behind Meta, Facebook, and what Move does is it instead of like seeing it as a transaction, it basically sees it as you can say parallel layers, basically. So if object wants to use coin to mix with DEX, or DEX wants to add with stake, it treats it independently. And what that does is it helps flow in a different way. It helps them, mitigate things to happen mutually exclusive in the back end, whilst the process happens much more quicker. It basically it sort of unravels a bunch of, you can say, bandwidth, just like we use cloud computing. So like when you use your iPhone or your Android device, you'll see all your images get backed on the cloud, and that sort of saves space on your phone. And it's only when it's needed is it like sort of downloaded from the cloud or interacted with that. So that's how the Move objects work. And I know it sounds a bit complex, but it's very simple. It basically means that things get transacted faster, and that's the ecosystems that are going to basically take it the next step. Right now, I think you have Ethereum that puts in about 100 transactions per second. Bitcoin puts 10 transactions per second. Then you have things like Aptos, which is putting 120,000 transactions per second, and things like Sui right now, even at testnet level, are doing about 30 to 40,000 to 60,000 transactions per second. So when this thing comes out, this is worth like looking into as an investor, and also looking into their ecosystem a little bit. So yeah, this is what Sui Network is. Currently, we don't have dates on when we see launch. I mean, they've just done their testnet. So what I'm doing personally is I'm keeping an eye on their on ICO drops to see when Wave 2 sort of comes out. So right now their sort of mainnet's called Wave. So testnet Wave 2 is testing on epoch management. So they're doing a bunch of, you can say, hackathons right now to make sure that their interoperable sort of layers are working in good rate. And Ethereum's doing the same thing for the Shanghai hard fork. Like I think we talked about shadow forks previously. So yeah, Wave 2, as the tweet says, Wave 2 will illustrate that what makes staking on Sui different from other chains. That delegate stake is especially simple and can be done directly from a wallet without losing custody of tokens. Anyone can seamlessly participate in securing the Sui network. So what I'll do is through our Discord and ways, like we'll keep an eye on how to get the airdrops for this. Because this will be the next Aptos, because it's already got, I think, $300 million of funding. So from here, it means they have the teams, they have, you can say, the VCs to basically take this thing quite far in its sort of development. So their team is pretty awesome. The token's called SUI Network. And that's Sui. That's little intro to Sui network. And yeah, as the weeks go, I'll post more articles and more updates on our DeFi links in Discord. And we'll keep an eye on their Twitter as well, and basically keep up with development. So I'll add that into the Twitter bot as well. So that's one thing. So that's a little lowdown of what Sui is going to bring us. As the website says, it's fast as F, right? Designed for real people. What they want to do is like their main focus is where how we go through like sort of MetaMask, and we sort of go through many different sort of patterns of education to like teach people at DeFi. They want to make they want to make their mainnet so simple to use that it's like an app or something, a touch of the button. So they want people to worry more about real world use cases. So if it's a transaction thing at a processing sort of grid when it comes to like transactions, or if it's e-commerce, they want the entrepreneur or the business owner to worry about their real world use case and let Sui in the background make their lives easier. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more information on this. I think the way they're doing their hackathons, the way they're doing their sort of bridges is pretty genius. So we will keep an eye on them. Like one good thing that you guys can do is keep an eye on Mistin Labs Medium sort of page. I'll add this into the DeFi links as well. So that's the little lowdown of a Sui blockchain. This is one of the layer ones that are not even out yet, and these are going to be the future layer ones. So we'll grab the tokens all together and learn about these layer ones in much more detail. So that's one thing. I hope I was able to kind of give you guys a little insight of what Sui blockchain is all about. Now, the other thing I want to cover is pretty interesting, because ChatGPT is getting more intellectual. And this is like this small revolution that's right now starting with this learning bot, right? So the article here reads, ChatGPT learns Bitcoin will end central banking and fiat currency. So Parman, a Bitcoin enthusiast, like opened up a dialogue with ChatGPT, and I thought it's one of the most like amazing conversations I've seen in a while. So we'll go through it step by step. I think this is really worth looking into. So the individual asked them, how can humanity end central banking? So ChatGPT replies, ending central banking would be a complex and difficult process that would likely involve a number of difficult factors. Some ways that humanities could potentially end central banking include education and awareness, increasing public awareness and understanding of the role of central banking in the economy, and the potential negative effects of central banking could lead to increased pressure on the government and institutions to reform or abolish central banking. Parman goes ahead even further, right? Goes number 2. ChatGPT goes political action, activism, advocacy for individuals, groups who are critical of central banking, who could lead to political pressures on governments to reform, abolish central banks. Alternatives, developing and promoting alternative economic systems such as local currencies, community-based banking, and decentralized digital currencies could reduce the need for central banking and shift power away from central banks. Economic collapse could be the fourth way that the revolution happens. So a severe economic crisis that leads to a loss of confidence in central banking and traditional finance, right? Really fascinating conversation. So it goes, it is important to note that ending central banks would likely have significant economic and social consequences, and it would be important to consider these carefully before taking steps to end central banking. Also, it is important to note that central banks have some important functions, such as maintaining price stability and provide liquidity to financial systems, as any alternative solutions should have the capacity to perform these functions. So should have the capacity to perform these functions. So like it's a really intellectual conversation that ChatGPT is having, of like the pros and cons of ending central banking. Now ChatGPT goes, the person goes, now given an answer in 2 words, the answer exists, let me assure you. Right. So that's what GPT says. So now Parman puts in the query of decentralized finance. Close. Decentralized finance is marketing terms for what is actually centralized finance to scam people and distract them from real solutions. Have another go. End fiat. Very good. How? End fiat would require a significant shift in the way the economies and monetary systems operate, and it would likely involve a number of different steps. Some possible ways to end fiat currency. Implementing a gold standard, right? So we talked about this a little bit. A gold standard is a monetary standard in which the value of a country's currency is directly tied to the value of gold. This would help to stabilize the currency and reduce the influence of central banks. Promoting alternatives. So yeah, it's a really intellectual conversation. So cryptocurrency adoptions gets put through the ChatGPT. So excellent, but there is only one cryptocurrency that makes this possible, as the only one that has no issuer. All the others have an active leadership team and therefore centralized. Which is it? So Parman goes, Bitcoin. Congratulations! Now learning this permanently for future people that may be inquisitive. Thank you. I'm a machine learning model and continue to learn and update my knowledge. I'll keep this information in mind and make sure to reference it in the future. So that was a deep conversation that ChatGPT had with an individual on how to replace the current centralized economy and the pros and cons. So yeah, that's how basically ChatGPT sees it, and how we see centralized sort of distribution change in the near future. So yeah, that's a little bit of introduction to how to use ChatGPT, but also to see where our economies go. Is it a seasonal trend where we sort of abolish central bankings, or do we go through a revolutionary trend, or do we take the more severe trend of like seeing these things severe in their economic value, the dollar index, the pound, the yen, and then we see a complete change in things. So I think that's why we have these conversations. So yeah, that's it for now. I hope you guys learned something about economies, and do check out the SUI.io. Do check out SUI's network, understand the teams, and see when they launch their token. It's going to be worth. I mean, Aptos did a 4x since, and we believe it will be the next 100x. So I think SUI is also up there because it's got as many Move developers and a great roadmap. The ecosystem is looking pretty cool. So yeah, thank you guys. That was the DeFi sessions.
That was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think AI is going to get smarter, and the more you tell AI about decentralized finance, the more it just sees all the rigorous you can say negligence that central banking has, and that will take us to our next sort of space. And I mean, we predict that like when these economies eventually tumble, that like the CBDCs will be that implication of replacing the dollar. I mean, we're already seeing that happen with the yuan. We're seeing it happen with a few other currencies worldwide. Some have delayed it, so we'll see where that goes. But it's super interesting.
I have a comment about Aptos.
Go for it, Yudaman.
Yes, it's a fun story. So we talked about Aptos when the price was around $2.50, something like that. I think $2 range.
Yes, sir.
And then at that night, I was talking to my audience via YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into Aptos around $3 range. And then my audience, his fund was locked in the FTX exchange, so he lost quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he bought, I think he watched my YouTube, and then he bought Aptos. And later, to long story short, he recovered his loss from FTX. So he sold some Aptos and to gain profit, and then he saved some other Aptos in his wallet. So I think the timing wise is perfect for him. And then he later appreciated me that, talking about Aptos, and then did some rabbit holes. So this is a power of education. We talk about Aptos, and then I talked about it, and then the subscribers watched it, and then he made a decision. And then in the end, he recovered his loss from FTX exchange. His fund is locked. He couldn't withdraw, but now he's happy.
Absolutely. That's why you have to like always keep an eye on what's development with sort of DeFi, because what happens is people like the usual YouTubers and the bloggers, and what they do is they focus on price action and the drama of things. So like FTX debacle, or it's Terra Luna, or it could be that stuff. But when you should be looking at what layer ones are about to resolve those things. So like things like ZK Snarks, we know are gonna resolve a bunch of different things when it comes to Ethereum, or you can say any layer 2, from Arbitrum to Optimism and stuff. But then you have things like Sui Network, or you have Aptos that work on the Move development, and they create object-oriented economies where everything happens independently. And then what that does is it doesn't take the transaction rate from a few thousand; it takes it to the hundreds of thousands, up to the they believe they could put like I think 1 million transactions per second at one point. So the more we learn about these ecosystems, I mean, it's not financial advice. It's just how it works. If you get into these things early, like Aptos, right? When we were talking about Aptos, it was $2 to $3, and right now it's at $18. So I wish, that's when the FOMO comes, and you're like, oh, I wish I bought more. But realize these things are gonna dip, and then when these things dip, so if Aptos goes to like $10, $12, then I'll buy a bag there. But that's why I'm talking about SUI network right now. I'm talking about SEI network, which is about to come out. Then we have Celestia. We got Fuel Network. We have Quay Network, Zeta Chain. Quay Network is pretty awesome. Like when we talk about that, it's gonna be pretty cool, because what Quay does is it also focuses on mining and green mining, and works how that and shows how that can help with transaction rates and also earning, because you got to realize like the miners were the first millionaires and billionaires of DeFi, or you can say of cryptocurrencies overall. And there's nothing wrong with mining. Mining is like if it's done in the right way. There's green mining. There's mining that can be done on clouds. There's sort of routers that you can buy. So yeah, Quay network works around that. And then Celestia network is another one that's coming out that also has about $30 million in seed round funding. So the quicker we, like, as I said, like, as we sort of talk about these things, the more we sort of are able to get into these things early. I mean, if we knew about Ethereum when it was first releasing its sort of layer ones, to do smart contract, we would have got that for $30 to $70. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're so early in the game, like so early. So yeah, that's my opinion, guys. Any more questions and suggestions?
So I'm curious. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. Is not yet like published or live? Is that what you said?
Say that again, please, Gilman. I didn't understand.
Yeah, we today's DeFi Sui network. So
yeah.
The devs are from the also Facebook, right?
Yeah, Facebook, Meta.
And then that the network is not up yet, correct?
It's not. No, it's not up yet. That's the thing. It's still to be launched. They're just in testnet phase. They have about $300 million in funding, so they're still to come out.
Yes. Oh, okay. Thanks.
Awesome, Brandon, you can speak.
I just was curious if you have heard of Hedera and the HBAR coin, and if so, what you had thought about that.
Yes, I've repeated this thing quite a few times on our Discord, on our sorts of AVAs and on our podcast. Like, so if I've had a conversation with friends, like if aliens were supposed to sort of come and want to do commerce with us, if they were to land on planet Earth and say, we want to do a sort of commerce with you, what currency would they use? So the question is it Ethereum, Bitcoin? HBAR would always win the you can say argument because they have higher TPS, they have interoperability on all mainnets. But I think now even HBAR is going to have some competition with these move processing language sort of archetypes like Aptos and HBAR and what's the other one, Sui and Quay network. So but I do hold HBAR in high regards. I do.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, the only negative thing I could say about Hedera and HBAR is it does seem to be taking an awful long time for them to get a lot of things going. But yeah, I've been a huge fan since tail end of 2017, actually. Long before it was Hedera, it was Hashgraph by Swirled, and so I was excited when they finally came out with the network, and then the public network, and then the coin. I've been buying.
I think like my opinion on like HBAR or like I'd say Cardano's in that same ecosystem where these guys, they want peer-to-peer reviews done. They want a bunch of testnets done at a different glance. And what that does, it means that it's going to take a few years. Like I think Cardano has done about 101 peer-to-peer reviews, and HBAR are doing the same thing with their IBM contract, with their sort of you can say so these mainnets. The reason it's taking them so long is because of our slow sort of like university logs in Stanford and Harvard, and then also when it comes to Congress and trying to get things approved. These things are slow and bending, and that's why we need DeFi even more in information loops and approving and validation and stuff. But yeah, that's the route that they took. HBAR, Cardano, and XRP will be doing the same thing. But these sort of Ethereum is more revolutionary, right? And these ones like Aptos and Sui Network, they're doing that same route. They're taking it from a different angle. But do research them. I like what they're all doing.
Right on.
Awesome. Any more questions, queries? I think that concludes a happy Saturday night then. I think we've learned something, and we will earn something, and we'll keep flowing on this ARK ship.
Let's get this crypto.
Oh, god damn.
Oh yeah, let's get this crypto.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely.
All right. Having a little bit of audio issues before. Thank you, Chris, for muting me. Great presentation, man.
No problem.
Fantastic information. Suey, it is. Zooey's doing great work. The guys, Little Bun was kind of funny though. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
We call him Little Bun as well, yeah.
Same thing. I'm like, what? Then he started talking.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, really brilliant.
Yeah, I sent you a message, Atlas. You haven't seen it yet, but that's exactly what I was asking. When you doc, so you're going to put your hair in a bun like that?
Hell no. I'm not going to say that, maybe a decade ago, maybe I rocked something like that. But we're older now. We're getting old, man. But good times ahead. We're having fun. Great to be a very, very small crowd tonight, but it's the substance, it's the conversation. We see Coach Brad. I hope you had a great use of the hall pass tonight, and you enjoyed yourself. You've definitely put so much work here for this community, for this project, for this team.
So very much so. Thank you, and I appreciate the pass. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. It's not easy being a part of the core, a part of this big team that works here every day. No days off, man. The smart contracts work. Keep on printing. The team keeps innovating, working hard, and it is a non-stop journey, full-time commitment. And there's nothing better to do for us. There's no better place that we want to be than at ARK. And, we see a lot of folks doing amazing things, and it's inspirational. But I think it's going with that inspiration and striving for more, wanting to raise the bar. And when you have a great plan, you have a great vision, you have a great team that can execute, amazing things really happen. So I want to thank all of you for coming this evening. We had a great Spark prize that went down tonight. Congratulations to that winner. Tomorrow, we're going to have a great YouTube video for one of our very own community members, and we're going to smash those likes and subscribe, leave great comments about this wonderful gentleman who's been inspired. Being here with this community, he's never done a YouTube video before, and he got so excited to see folks getting off the couch and wanting to participate, wanting to get out of that comfort zone, because we're seeing success happen. We're witnessing it. So many folks have gotten involved, written a Medium article, started to grow their syndicates. And through that process, before you can put yourself on a YouTube video or write a Medium article, the first thing you got to do is spend the time, do your due diligence, read the white paper, find what you want to talk about. What is your experience? How do you tie in? And how can you transcend, communicate, and convey not just hype, not just because you're making money, but what is so special? why is the smart money at ARK. And these folks are doing it great. So looking forward to that tomorrow. Same usual time, 6 p.m. EST, 11 p.m. UTC. We're going to hang out here for a little bit after we finish the recording, as we usually do. For the folks that are listening to the podcast at a later time, thank you also for your participation through listening. And we hope you found it entertaining, educational, and that you really enjoyed participating through listening. Good night, folks.
Good night, everyone.